Good day to all of you. Welcome to ODL session. This is Indian Economy class, week 3, lecture 2. Today's topic is the continuation of poverty class 2. In this particular class, we are going to discuss about the technical concept of poverty. Let us get into the class. In this class, we are going to measure the poverty with a different technical concept like a poverty gap or headcount index and proportional poverty gap or squared poverty gap. These kind of technical thing we are going to discuss. The second one is the poverty line meaning. In this particular poverty line meaning, we may say what is the status of poverty in the Indian economy by providing information of various reports, World Bank report and Ernst report, all these things we will discuss in this class. Let us start the class. Now, we are going to start what is the status of poverty in India in the past decade. One study says 1 in 5 Indians are poor, and as far as the census of 2011 is concerned, nearly 27 crores people are poor people. Why this particular thing? There are many states they have not improved. They are basically agriculture based industry. One particular thing, the out of 27 states, some states are having more poor people. Right from Chandigarh, it is nearly 10% of the people are poor. In Odisha, 14% people are poor. In Rajasthan, once again, 10% of the people are poor. And in Jharkhand, 13% of the state people are coming under poor. The highest is the Uttar Pradesh. Nearly 60% of the people are poor. And next to that, the Madhya Pradesh and Bihar. Madhya Pradesh is 24% people are poor. And in Bihar, 36% of people are poor. Why? It is based on the job that they are taking. All these states are rely on the farming sector. And people are not able to get the required income because of unemployment. And one more statistics says there are 7 states which are coming under the highest number of people are poor. This is the main reason is nearly 80% of the people are living in rural areas and they depends on the agriculture and allied act, and nearly 45% of the people are having low income. That is why the poverty line is keep on getting lower, and nearly 7 states is having 62% of people are in the poverty. So this is the status as far as Indian poverty profile is concerned. With this idea, when you try to measure the poverty of India, we may have some technical concept like based on the headcount index, we can measure the poverty. Or we are having a concept called poverty gap. And apart from these two, the further study says there are 2 methods like proportional poverty gap and squared poverty gap. All these methods having one base, that is, instead of measuring the poverty in a direct way, we are trying to get some independent variable like income or inequality or disparity or not able to meet the basic necessary thing like food, clothing and shelter. So in this way, we can measure the poverty. Before getting to the actual thing of technical concept of poverty line, 2 things we should have the basic idea. What is it? One is HCR, the other one is the poverty ratio. HCR means headcount ratio. How we can measure this can be expressed as number of people below poverty line. It is an incidence of poverty. How it is measured? How many people are living below the poverty line? That is headcount ratio. One more thing is there, that is called poverty gap. It is expressed in poverty ratio. That is the number of people of total population expressed in percent. It can be compared with the continental level or world level or with the neighboring country. There are 4 reports which give some clear idea about the concept poverty. Mainly Rangarajan methodology. C. Rangarajan, former RBI governor, they have given the poverty line in that particular report says nearly 29.5% of the people are living below poverty line. This was expressed in last census. And one more study which gives appropriate and scientific information about the poverty, it is S.Chandrachud methodology. What he inferred, the poverty line was nearly rupees 33 per day, and it is for urban area. And those who are having rupees 27 in rural area, they are considered that they are above the poverty. But on contrary, in Rangarajan methodology, rupees 47 for urban and 30 rupees for rural areas. So that is why the percentage of poverty reduced from 29.5 to 21.9. So which report we are going to take, that is not the thing. When the income is 47, this is Rangarajan report, then it is coming under poverty line. Less than 47 rupees per day, it's a poverty line. For Tendulkar thing, less than 33 rupees, they are coming under poverty line. This is the Indian report. If you compare with the global report like World Bank report, they have given two different category. It is expressed in dollars. When a person is having $1.25 per day per person, then that purchasing power parity is rupees 18.7. This is A category. In the B category, if their expenditure is $1.9 per person, if they are able to purchase up to $28.5 in a month, then they are not coming under the poverty. This particular information extracted from Erstwhile Planning Commission of World. So we should know poverty line has been given by different peoples. As on date, if anybody is having less than 47 rupees per day, then they are coming under poverty line. So in a month, if they are not having nearly 1500 rupees, then they are below poverty line. So some of the states I have given as a picture. These are the most predominant states which are having more poor people, and the percentage of poverty is high. As far as India is concerned, Bihar is having more number of poor people, nearly 51.9%. Next to that, it is Rajasthan, 29.5. Next to that, it is Gujarat, 18.6 percentage of people are having no money, no education and other things. Next to Gujarat, Manipur, 17.8% people are living below poverty line, and in Andhra Pradesh is 12.3, Karnataka 13.2, and Telangana 13.7, and Tamil Nadu, our state, we are having 4.8% of people living below poverty line. So compared to other states, Tamil Nadu is in a better position. But keep it in mind, Bihar is the highest share of poverty line because 51 point. The lowest is Kerala because almost nil. This particular information given by Nidhi Aayog of Government of India. This Nidhi Aayog is the advanced version of previous planning commission. Now we'll get into the technical session, that is 4 different tools to measure the poverty. The first one is head count index. The head count is the simplest and easy and also the best to know the poverty level, because it identifies the share of people who are having less income and they are coming under the category of poverty line. Surprisingly, this particular index is not used, even though it is a right method, and they find difficult to measure it because of migration and improper information of the reports. The second tool we are having is poverty gap. Poverty gap nothing but a ratio which the mean income of the poor fall below that particular level of poverty. We used to call it as poverty line. When we are calculating a particular level of income, that is poverty line, those who are having less than that are called people in under poverty. That particular ratio we used to call it as poverty gap. This poverty line is defined as half of the median household income of the total population. It's the easiest method. With the total population, we are calculating half median income of the household. The poverty gap helps to refine the poverty rate and providing indication for poverty level in a country. So when we frame our fiscal policy or monetary policy, any macro policy, this particular poverty rate or poverty line or poverty gap ratio, which may help to implement the provisions of the particular macroeconomic policies. Apart from these two, there are two more gap. We used to call the proportional poverty gap and squared poverty gap. As far as the proportional poverty gap is concerned, it's nothing but the taking average for the poverty gap. We may define this particular proportional poverty gap as the average poverty gap in a population as a proportion of the poverty line. This poverty gap index is an improvement of the poverty measure of head count ratio HCR, which may simply it counts how many people under poverty line. Instead of saying numbers, it can be expressed in percentage or ratio with a given population. And some people may have the income, but even though because of the other thing they come under equally they are poor even though they have the income because of lack of education and not able to avail drinking water itself, and those who are sick, they are not able to work. All these people also included in this particular proportional poverty gap. The last one is the squared poverty gap. The squared poverty gap index, also known as poverty severity index. Normally in books you can see as P2. P1 is the poverty gap. Second one is squared poverty gap. We used to call it as P2. It is considered to be the relative poverty gap. As we in the last class we discussed that there are two types of poverty. One is absolute poverty index, another one is relative poverty index. This particular tool coming under the relative poverty index. It is calculated by averaging the square of the poverty gap ratio. First we have make the square and then get the average. By squaring each poverty gap data, the measure puts more weight further than the poor person observed income falls below the poverty line. First we should define what is poverty line and we have to count on how many people are that. That particular data gets squared and we get the average. We can get the squared poverty gap. So for all these four index, the base need is to find the poverty line. It's only a estimated or a imaginary line, and it may differ from person to person and from period to period. So on that particular economic situation, we have to give a particular value for the income level, and those who don't have that much income, they will be categorized under they are below the poverty line. So how we can define this? The poverty line is an estimated or an imaginary line developed by economists in order to define a poor person. Using a certain standard measures, the poverty line is calculated in such a way all the people lie below the poverty line and one above the poverty line. That is a differentiation. Those who are not having that much level of income are under poverty. Those who have achieved that and more than that, they are not coming under poverty, they are not poor. So in order to define who are all the poor people, we used to give one imaginary or estimated line called poverty. This poverty line is an estimated imaginary. How people able to understand whether they are poor or not. So at the state level or the union level, they used to say this much amount of income if the person is having this much amount, this much level of purchasing power they have, they are not coming under the poverty line. Those who are not having that much level, they are below the poverty line. Of course, there are several indicators to calculate or fix this particular poverty line. How they will calculate? They will calculate with the expenditure or income or any other economic indicator they may use. Even the education, employment, all these things, health, these are also considered to measure the poverty line. With this, I am completing the class. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. I have shared my email ID and contact number. I am Dr. S.Chandrachud, Professor in Department of Economics, School of Management Studies and Commerce,